RM Sotheby's is the world's largest collector car auction house by total sales. They are the preeminent market maker of high-quality collector cars and collections, regardless of size or complexity. By working in partnership with the Sotheby's team and its network of 80 offices in 40 countries, RM Sotheby's has established the largest client network of any collector car auction house in the world. Join the RM Sotheby's family by connecting with one of their car specialists at rmsotheby's.com or contact me directly at GStanley at rmsotheby's.com. LLC TLC is here to save you money on all of your vehicle purchases. LLC TLC will permanently register your classic cars in Montana to avoid any annual renewal fees. As your registered agent, they will handle everything for you so you never have to step foot in Montana. And as a listener of this podcast, LLC TLC is offering 30% off your entire package. Simply go to llctlc.com/classic or mention this podcast when you contact LLC TLC directly. Hey, it's Greg Stanley. Welcome to the Collector Car Podcast. This is going to be a fun one. I'm sure all of you have heard about RM Sotheby's The Junkyard sale coming up here in LA in just a few days. So I wanted to be sure to share as much as I can with you as far as the super cool cars that are coming out of this Junkyard sale. And it has really been interesting as we learn more and more about it. All right, let me scroll back here. If you're following on YouTube, you will see some pictures of these incredible cars. I did pick mostly the high dollar fun ones because if you're going to save a car, you need to have a good car in which to start with. But there are a couple surprises in there that I think you will find interesting. So the idea of this is, what would you save from this Junkyard collection, the Rudy Klein collection? It really has been quite fascinating. Now, there is a live online auction. I'm sorry, there is a live auction on site. And it's my understanding it's in a pretty bad neighborhood, so they're not going to release that address until right before the auction begins, maybe the day prior. And then there is an online auction as well, component after that, I believe. So anyways, let's dig into this. I want to look into the live one first. So now this occurs on October the 26th. As far as auction details, Friday the 25th, October the 25th from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. is the preview. And then Saturday, October the 26th, from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. is the preview, and then the auction begins at 10 a.m. So now, since 1967, Rudy Klein, a renowned figure in the world of collecting, had quietly amassed a remarkable collection of automotive treasures in a modest junkyard in southern Los Angeles. Known for his discerning eye and passion for rare and unique automobiles, Klein's collection has long been a well-kept secret, with only rumors of its existence rolling amongst certain collector circles. It's my understanding that Rob Meyer of RM Sotheby's had tried to get in there for numerous years and was not able to do so until recently. Now, for the first time, RM Sotheby's will unveil the Junkyard, bringing to market Klein's extraordinary collection of rare and revered automobiles, parts, and memorabilia in a series of auctions, a rare glimpse into the world of a true collector. This event offers bidders the opportunity to acquire significant models long thought lost or destroyed, along with a trove of automotive parts and treasures, true pieces of automotive history once lost, now found. All right, let's check this out. So I'm going to start with the big hitters, as one can imagine here. So the first big hitter we have is an incredible car. Now, this is incredible for numerous reasons. This is a 1956 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL alloy gullwing. Now, if you're watching online, this thing looks pretty rough. It's silver with red interior, flat tires, covered in dust. But this is a truly spectacular car. Now, the estimate on this one, as is $4.5 to $6 million, offered without reserve. Now, this is the 26th of 29 examples produced, meaning of the alloy body composite work, the only alloy gullwing originally finished in black over red leather. And you can still see some of the black in the door jambs. Ordered new by legendary Ferrari importer and Le Mans champion Luigi Chinetti, acquired by Rudy Klein directly from Chinetti in August of 1976. Never driven outside the walls of the Klein yard in nearly 50 years. Aside from paint, unrestored with its original interior body, engine, gearbox, rear axle, steering box, and front spindles. Accompanied by Mercedes-Benz delivery information and fascinating documentation. One of the most exciting post-war Mercedes-Benzes to be offered in decades. Now, an alloy, the only black, yes, this is quite an incredible car. So I'm flipping through a couple pictures here, and it is definitely leaning to the side as you look at it with its flat tires. Pretty cool that we had this in Monterey on display, and it was gathering a lot of attention for sure. All right, the next one is even rarer, and no surprise, it is also a Mercedes. This is the one I would probably really go after if I were made of money and I had $4 to $6 million to spend on a project car. This is probably what I would go for. The 1935 Mercedes-Benz 500K Caracolia. I'm sure I didn't say that right. Special Coupe by Sindenfinger. All right. Sindenfingen. How about that? All right. Again, $4 to $6 million offered without reserve. The single most pursued full classic automobile of the last half century. Now, if you're looking online, this is a swoopy Mercedes two-door coupe, so it's pretty cool. It's got a really long hood, short rear deck, big white walls, covered in dust, looks like a dark maroon color. A one-off car built for Mercedes-Benz legendary champion racing driver Rudy Caracolia, documented by a copy of its build sheet bearing his name. Formerly owned by legendary California enthusiast Dr. Milton Roth and M.L. Bill Post. I would assume that's from the Post cereal family. Acquired by Rudy Klein in 1979, hidden away and not seen by the public since 1980. The long-awaited opportunity to acquire and freshly restore one of the most famous and desired of all Mercedes-Benzes. Now, this is a great example where you can buy this, send it straight into a restoration shop, probably spend $1 to $2 million for full restoration, but then you can go and actually win the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance with a best of show. These are the types of cars that can win Pebble Beach, which is why it is $4 to $6 million estimate. All right, I'm going to read a little bit more of this description on this car because it is such a special car, and the R.M. Sotheby's catalog writers do such a wonderful job. At the dawn of the automobile, the great figures came not from the burgeoning industry, but from the seemingly nowhere founts of talent that had just seemed to be in the right place at the right time and climbed not from class to class, but from job to job. Such was the case of Rudolf Caracolia, born in Germany to Italian parents who enjoyed cars and so apprenticed at an automobile factory as a young man, eventually becoming a car salesman for Daimler in Dresden, and in 1926 asked Mercedes-Benz to supply him a car to drive in the first German Grand Prix. This race was beset by drenching rain, which he hurled through, even as other drivers literally crashed and died around him, and his utterly fearless nature won. No wonder then that Mercedes-Benz built him a car, and not just a car, but a unique creation on what was then their ultimate supercharged chassis. The build sheet, a copy of which is included in the file, identifies the body designed as a roadster limousine, although Mercedes-Benz historian Jan Melin dubs it a special coupe in his standard reference tome. Reportedly, the design of the car was tailored specifically for Caracolia, hence the somewhat taller but nonetheless well-balanced roofline and windshield, accommodating the driver's height. The body sat at the end of an impossibly long, gorgeous headline, it and the fenders unencumbered by awkward spare tires. Instead, the spare hung at the rear, at the terminus of the bold chromed accent lines that flowed to a point through the curve of the deck lid. It was a car that emphasized its power. It looked, in fact, like a racing car with a roofline, and that was almost certainly the idea, befitting an automobile that Mercedes-Benz wanted people to see him drive to events all over Europe. It came with room for 2 passengers and a luggage set aft of the seats, perfect for a weekend in the countryside. All right, very, very cool car. And there's some period pictures of this car, which is very, very nice. All right, next we are going to move. We're sticking with some fun European cars. Now, this one is one I'm not that familiar with, but I've heard of it. It's the precursor to Audi, the 1939 Horch 855 Special Roadster by Glacier. Now, this one, let's see, estimate is $3 to $4 million. Now, I say it's a precursor to Audi because Horch was one of the four brands that formed to form Auto Union. I don't remember it all. I think it was Auto Union, Horch, Wanderer, and one more. Anyways, a circle for each. Put the four circles overlapping. You have the Audi logo. All right, the only surviving production Horch 855, indisputably the ultimate Horch automobile, formerly owned by Purcell Ingram and the Bruckert Movie World Collection. The subject of a feature article in the September 1954 issue of Road and Track, appeared with Rock Hudson in The World Is Ours and in well-known publicity photographs. Part of the Klein collection since 1980, exhibited in Germany since 1992, a Classic Car Club of America full classic, one of the most desirable cars of its era, a future major concours star in the waiting. Yeah, this one doesn't look like it needs that much work. I mean, it looks like it's probably drivable. I mean, it looks like it could use a new paint job, I would say. I see some body imperfections here or there. It is black with a black top and tan interior, I believe, or light cream interior. Even the interior and engine, there's not a speck of dust on this thing. So, yes, it is from the Junkyard sale, but this was one that looks ready to go onto the show field practically. All right, next is another Mercedes. Now we're going to go from the going hardtop version to the 1957 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Roadster. Estimate on this one's $800 to $1 million. And for those in the know, which I am not, if you drive a Gullwing versus a 300 SL Roadster, most folks really like the Roadster. The Gullwing tends to get very hot in that cabin, whereas the Roadster is a wonderful touring car. I know a lot of these show up on the Colorado Grand Rally and others. I would love to take one of these for a long week rally. If you have one you would like for me to borrow, please let me know. Now this one is covered in dust, dents, dings, flat tires, just like the Gullwing. So this one needs a lot of work. Full restoration. One of only 30 Roadsters factory equipped with a rare and highly desirable competition-derived Rudge wheels. That does add a lot. Retains matching numbers, engine, rear axle, body, and front axles, equipped with the correct type gearbox. Originally finished in the iconic fire engine red paint. Now it's silver with a red interior, and the red interior looks really ratty. I have a picture of it right now. Documented with copy of factory delivery sheet, desirably appointed early Roadster, awaiting restoration, and a return to the collectible Mercedes-Benz niche. All right, so this one is, like I said, $800 to $1 million. That might seem rich, as these cars were trading restored for approximately that amount 5 years ago or so. But now, you know, these cars are pushing 1.8 to 2.2. And this one is a Rudge wheel example. So there is room for a restoration, and you are not upside down in the car. Very cool car. All right, let's see. Next, we're going to 1964, and we're going to what Jay Leno would call a hybrid, an Isogrifo. This is a 1964 Isogrifo A3/L Spider prototype by Bertone. Now, this one's very interesting because if you know Isos, they didn't make a convertible. This is the only one, and it is a prototype. Now it's red, looks like it has tan interior. This one is definitely covered in dust, needs a total restoration. What's interesting is you can actually see a cutout on the side front fenders where you can see the exhaust kind of coming through or visible through the grates, which is pretty cool. That's a design feature that never made it into a production car. And it does look good as a convertible. I wouldn't think that it would have, but in these pictures, it looks really good. All right, let's learn a little bit more about it. The only original Grifo convertible built, a one-off example. Now, there's pictures of it. Looks like on the showroom, displayed during the 1964 Geneva Auto Show. Looks good. Looks like it used to not be red, but some other color. But it looks very good in this period photo. A partner to the original Grifo A3/L prototype coupe with subtly unique styling, exhibited when new on the European Auto Show circuit. It does have a luggage rack in the back, which is interesting. Acquired by Rudy Klein in 1980 from legendary enthusiast Greg Garrison. Largely unseen within the collection for over 4 decades. Now, this one's ratty. Looks like it has a Corvette engine, probably 327 engine if I had to guess. Ideal basis for restoration with great concours potential. Yeah, so this is $700 to $1 million. Needs a complete restoration. But again, it's a one-off. If you had a fully restored coupe, where they made many of those, a small block one, you're talking $350 to $450. At the end of the day, you're going to have probably $2 million in this car, but it is the only one. So I've always liked these for some reason. Just think they're pretty cool. All right, next we're moving to the Italian side of the world. Let's see, we've got a 1968 Lamborghini Miura P400 by Bertone. Estimate on this one is $500,000 to $600,000. Again, all of these are without reserve. This is a wild, like emerald green color. It is on what you might consider a miniature wheelbarrow. It's actually off the ground. It does have its wheels, but it does have a massive layer of dust hanging on top of it. All right. The 159th of 275 examples built. Oh, it does have significant rust, looks like in the doors, which I thought this was aluminum, so I'm surprised I see that. Offered from over 46 years of long-term storage in the junkyard. Originally finished in Giallo Mura paint over blue interior. Oh, interesting. A golden opportunity to rejuvenate a missing Miura, the original modern supercar. Yeah, this one needs a total restoration. Looks like it is complete, including the interior. But the interior currently maybe it is dark blue. Looks black in these pictures. There has been a lot of interest on these. There's 3 Miuras that are in this kind of state that are being auctioned off. And there has been significant interest in these for sure. So $500,000 to $700,000. I have a sneaky feeling that it's going to sell for much, much more. All right, let's go to another Lamborghini Miura. This next one is the 1969 Miura, but this is the P400S. Now again, this estimate is $500,000 to $700,000. This one's a little rare, worth a little bit more because it's an S, but it is also in a little worse shape. It's missing its front fenders, missing its hood, whereas the previous car had that. This one is a dark blue, covered in dust, again, on a little 4-wheel contraption to roll it around. So it's not actually touching the ground, and it has black interior, it looks like. An astounding opportunity to secure a highly desirable early production Miura P400S, one of very few documented unrestored examples presented with established provenance. Now it is apparently unrestored, but if you see these pictures, it cannot stay this way. Finished in its original blue paintwork over blue leatherette / cloth upholstery. Wow, it's hard to tell this was originally blue. Delivered new to Italy, acquired by Porsche Foreign Auto in March of 1978. Retains its number-matching chassis, V12 engine, and body, minus front clamshell and rocker panel trim. All right, pretty cool. A lot more work than the last one, but rare, hence the same estimate. So, yeah, really interesting car. Now, there is a third. I'm not going to cover that one for this podcast, so if you would like to check it out, just go to rmsotheby's.com. All right, next, we're going back to Germany, but this time with a Porsche. This is a 1959 Porsche 356A Carrera 1500 GS/GT. Now, this one looks drivable as is, as it sits right now. It just needs a little elbow grease to get some of the dust off. The estimate on this one's $450,000 to $600,000. Now, I don't know my Porsche Carrera numbers off the top of my head, but I would guess this is somewhere around an $800,000 to $1 million car, totally restored. And so if you get it for $450,000, you still have $300,000, $400,000 to get it up to snuff. Equipped with matching number type 692/1 4cam engine, one of just 14 or 15 such engines built. Retains authentic features such as silver metallic paint, external fender mirror, and matching numbers coachwork. Offered from 48 years of extended storage. Now this is your basic silver with black interior and a silver dash. Rare transitional Carrera engine type. A unique opportunity to rejuvenate a Stuttgart legend. All right, this one's pretty cool. Lots of little dents sitting up high in the front. Yeah, so this one will be interesting to see what this one does. All right, now we're going back to the ESOs just because we're getting into the lower price point category here. And I just wanted to pick a couple cars that didn't look too far gone for restoration, but still look cool. So this is a 1966 ESO Grifo Series 1, $125,000 to $175,000, offered without reserve. Now this is a dark blue with black interior, I believe. Looks like it has a pretty big dent in the driver's door, but looks like it could be pounded out. Like this one looks like the dents that I see could probably be pounded out, not having to reproduce any body panels. Stored in the Klein yard since acquisition in 1971, largely unseen in over half a century, an excellent basis for authentic restoration. All right, this is a little bit more about the description of this car. As with many of the Rudy Klein automobiles, this Series 1 Isogrifo has led a very quiet existence, with the available published registries commenting only that it was built on the 4th of July 1966, equipped with the more potent 365 horsepower V8 4-speed transmission and a 3.07 rear axle, and originally intended for the Italian market. Indeed, when Rudy Klein acquired the car in 1971, what was then a 5-year-old used automobile was purchased from Robert J. and Patrick L. Callias from California, as noted in a bill of sale. All right, so pretty cool. It's been sitting there. Looks like it was wrecked, I guess, late 60s. And I don't know why. It looks like it's fairly repairable. But anyway, it's been languishing since 1971. Looks like it'd be a pretty good candidate for restoration. All right, next we're getting weird here. I just have two more. This is a car I've never seen before, and I thought it would be fun to cover. The 1971 NSU RO80 2 Porte Plus 2 by Pininfarina. Now this one is silver with, looks like red interior. It is a weird car. It's a four-door, futuristic, Sid Mead, Blade Runner, kind of weird-looking coupe or sedan. And just so weird looking, I just thought, you know what, I need to put this one in here. And it looks like it's running driving as is. The estimate on this one, $60,000 to $80,000. A remarkable one-off rotary engine show car. All right, well that just explains everything I mentioned. It's a one-off show car. Displayed by Pininfarina at the 1971 Turin and 1972 Brussels Motor Show. Based on the NSU RO80 with Wankel engine and 3-speed semi-automatic gearbox. Now the Wankel engine, it looks nice and clean. I don't see any dust on this thing right now. So, fascinating construction with a sliding roof panel, unshown on American shores since 1995. Now, this is another one you could probably get on the lawn of Pebble Beach. Not that you would win. You could probably win your class if you had it restored. But it's so weird and unique. If they ever have a Wankel engine or rotary-powered class, this would definitely be invited. All right, a little bit more about this car. Based on a later production example of the Wankel rotary engine, the show car was based entirely on the original body structure of a factory sedan with the sills reinforced to accommodate the new coachwork. As its name suggests, its interior was designed to accommodate 2 adults and 2 children, with the 2+2 configuration then all the rage in Europe, although rather than 2 doors, it provided 4, with the rear pair opening from the center. The fascinating design for the 2 Porte Plus 2 emphasized aerodynamics with ventilation through large air intakes along the base of the windshield and on the sides of the roof panels and doors. Much of the roof itself could be opened for ventilation, sliding backwards behind the rear window into a recess atop the trunk lid, thus allowing for a nearly convertible experience while preserving almost all of the available luggage room. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even realize that when I picked this car. So I'm going to keep flipping through the pictures, hoping they show that convertible aspect of it. Pininfarina's equally innovative interior featured a dashboard arranged to place all instruments ergonomically in front of the driver, with adjustable visors to protect them from the glare of sunlight, and used extensive padding throughout to ensure passenger safety in a collision. Now I just flipped onto the interior, which is really wild. It's not red. It's a very, very bright orange. Pretty wild. The Pininfarina press release for the 1972 Brussels International Motor Show recounted that the RO80 would be exhibited there after being shown for the first time at the recent Turin Motor Show, where they obtained a large critic and public success. These are really cool seats in the back. I can't imagine. They look like they're brand new. I mean, it'd be shocking to me if this thing doesn't stink, but it looks really, really nice. It continued to attract attention following its show display, most prominently appearing in a feature article in the August 1993 issue of Motor Classic with a K, and then at an NSU gathering in the Netherlands in 1994. Yeah, this thing's cool. It says it only has 2 miles on it. This thing's pretty cool. All right, our last one. So I did want to pick something that is very achievable for anyone. And the one I picked is a 1983 Audi Quattro. Now, I say achievable because this one, the estimate's only $3,000 to $6,000. And now, obviously, that's not the cost including the including the restoration, which might be really difficult to find parts and such. But I thought this would be a fun entry point for a garage mechanic to kind of work around, maybe get a newer engine to put in there. So this particular car was a revolutionary all-wheel drive sports car and launch platform for Audi's Quattro system. Ugh. All right, I just got a picture of the interior, and it looks roached out in one of the most horrific ways I've ever seen. So I'm going to take this away from my list. I'll still cover it, but it's off my list. All right, originally equipped with a turbocharged 2.1 inline 5-cylinder engine, 5-speed manual transmission. One of just 1,455 units made for the 1983 model year, finished with a Mars Red exterior. The first model for the North American market, acquired by Porsche Foreign Auto Wrecking in 1989. Yeah, this thing's rough. I mean, the interior, oh, geez, the wiring harness looks like, I don't know, a horrible bird's nest or something. It just looks bad. All right, I'm going to take this off my list, but it still is an interesting car for sure. All right, well, that's it. Thank you for joining me. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes here. So if you've noticed, I've done basically podcasts every Monday and Thursday. That's just because I had so much content. So what I think I'm going to try to do in the future is on Mondays, it might be a walking, talking video podcast at a car show or a live event, where maybe if you're only an audio listener to this podcast, you might not want to check out Mondays. Thursday, I'll try to get that back to being more the traditional interview or market trends podcast. So if you like that kind of stuff, you can always tune in on Thursdays, and Monday might be more of a crapshoot as far as what I'm doing. So as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to all of you next week.